It's 1:54 on the 7th of September, and this is a late upload with regard to the disharmony that's been caused in Tralee, County Kerry. As I've mentioned, there have been awful failings, awful wrongdoings that I've experienced, and I'm still waiting for honorability to transpire. Unfortunately, the courage and bravery required for good leadership and good practice isn't becoming evident, and there are people playing Russian roulette with people's lives. This is really unfortunate with regard to the extent of damages and harms that should have been repaired and that should still be repaired to this day, and the efforts of avoidance are really poor reflections on people's calibre of character. The individuals that have been laying claim to very precious gifts that I just don't know if they've even calculated the value of from my spiritual experience, and there is no estimate on a precious child that has been unlawfully withheld from me and the upbringing that he has lost from my absence in his life, his early life, the most important years in a child's life. I'm so disappointed as a teacher that a young child that I gave birth to has been disrespected in my home country. His upbringing has been affected due to incompetent adults and due to individuals that are being protected for their foul behaviour, which is just not forgivable. It's not ever excusable in the modern day and age. And it's a poor reflection on a modern country that there have been such poor evasion tactics, poor avoidance tactics in this entire situation. So I'm really concerned about the scales of justice, having had an impact on the criminal justice acts of the past 3 years. I'm really concerned about the way this is swaying. It's a day by day, 24-hour day process of just poor behaviour is being demonstrated in society. Civil society is being disrespected by liabilities that are not mature, competent, considerate, courteous, responsible adults. Mature, they're displaying immature behaviour in their impetuous avarice for my farm holdings and for obstructions of justice and the wealth from my fortunes that they're spending. It also highlights a poor reflection on healthcare providers and healthcare developments that have arisen from me and that have been developed from me since 2018, 2016 actually, originally unlawfully. They have only recently been legalised, and there has been absolutely no shred of respect for the Hippocratic Oath in this entire charade. So the damages that I'm owed from my state that I live in, Ireland, the democracy, it's a neutral country. The damages I'm owed for are inestimable, and the honourability is not present. And this is a very, very sad sign of the times for women and children's rights, when an honest mother of a royal title and fabulous humanitarian work, I'm not going to be bashful or honest or dishonest about this, but the contributions I've made to Irish society are quite impressive, and the government I am awaiting since 2017 has not treated this matter with consideration or courtesy, and it's very disappointing. So this upload is with regard to the constant disruption and disharmony that's being facilitated in a small community that has been experiencing these individuals' bad publicity since 2006. So this is another episode of the bad publicity and the avarice and identity theft and creative and intellectual property theft arising again. And I have to say it's very disappointing for healthcare providers of developments to be so discourteous to women's anatomy and women's bodies, as is the case in my circumstance since 2016. I've had to self-heal, I've had to treat this myself, and these people have worked remotely without my consent, and they have slandered my good name, and they have been gaining and gaining and gaining, and exploitation has been prevalent in a democracy in a modern day and age, which isn't very progressive, and it doesn't show positive professionalism, and it doesn't show positive leadership. So as I've mentioned in my earlier uploads, the honorability is more like faffing. I don't know how any reputable, intelligent professional could just turn a blind eye to such a serious matter that affects many in many respects. So this upload is just another update with regard to the insanity of this entire charade. My fellowship of sanity and sobriety would probably be abhorred with what has happened, and it's highly disrespectful to all women and children, really, and it's disrespectful to the field of education that a teacher isn't being protected in a society where she has positively affected many lives, and unabashedly proclaiming so. So people that have no regard for women and children's rights, I'm concerned about the calibre and standards these days with regard to codes of practice, morals, ethics, etc. And those people that have attempted to lie throughout this entire charade, withholding my child from me based on absolute slander, have already caused my child enough damage. So I hope they're sensible enough to see the error of their ways and be able to fulfill their functions properly, rather than wrangling and evading. It's really not safe when spiritual gifts from a mother have been damaged, and it's really not safe for civil society to be disrupted to accommodate this kind of property theft and financial theft that I'm experiencing. It's really bad. So that's my upload for now, and tomorrow's the 8th of September, and hopefully there'll be some courage and bravery to respect strength, courage, serenity and wisdom.